This is your first day. It's going to get better every day.
Animal experts weren't sure how he reached his hefty size, but suspected he was on the junk food diet. Now he's a totally different dog.
Looking so good.
With a healthy diet and exercise, the fat started falling off. A food company's been sponsoring Vincent to keep him on the right track and full of energy throughout the day, transforming him into one heck of a hot dog.
Obie came to me 6 years ago after I read about his story on a Facebook page that I followed. It was a plea for help that a family member wrote to get him out of his current situation. His feet hadn't touched the ground for at least 8 months at that point because they were physically unable to pick him up and get him outside. It was a pretty desperate situation. So I was one of the first people to read that plea for help. And I said, well, I'll take him. So Obie pretty much stayed to one room in my house, and it was the closest to the back door, so I could drag him out on a quilt to get him outside to go potty. Physically, Obie wasn't able to really interact with the other dogs, but he wanted to, so you could tell that he would really just kind of keep an eye on the other dogs, and him wanting to see what I was doing and what the other dogs were doing kind of encouraged him to get up and move, so that was great. I think he was a little sad not being able to interact, so as he became able to interact with them more, he was happier and more animated. I used to take him for quite a bit of hikes. They weren't really hikes for him, they were just kind of walks in the forest. And he really enjoyed that. These days he's able to do pretty much anything the other dogs can do. I just have one step so he can get on the couch by himself. I have stairs so he can get in the bed by himself. But yeah, he's pretty active, living a normal dog life these days. He's slowing down a little bit because he's 12 now, but he's still a happy dog, just slowing down a little bit. He's inspired them to lose weight, and he's inspired them to help their dogs lose weight, and he's brought a lot of awareness to obesity in pets. Because he's so happy and he's so animated and so easygoing, people have really just, I mean, he's a special little dog, and I think he has a really special story, but I think it's his personality that people are really drawn to.
Just 1 year ago, Bolinia the stray dog was dangerously overweight. But just 12 months later, thanks to the intervention of Brazilian animal charities and vets, he has shed the pounds and has been given a whole new lease of life. Bolinia was a stray mongrel, sleeping outside a snack bar and restaurant at a filling station in rural Brazil. Surviving off scraps fed to him by staff and passers-by, he became so obese that he could barely move and was often photographed by visitors. He was eventually rescued last September by an animal charity.
Eu fiquei sabendo da história do Bolinha através de um site de notícias, então pedi para um voluntário da ONG estar indo até a cidade para fazer o resgate, porque ele estava em outra cidade, então ele foi até lá, conversou com a pessoa que se dizia o dono e conseguiu trazê-lo até a nossa cidade, para assim iniciar o tratamento.
Michelle teamed up with Pamela Ferretti, a lawyer and animal activist who runs Pampet in Cuiabá, 186 miles from where Bolinia was rescued. She publicised Bolinia's case to raise the money to pay for his treatment.
Logo que o Bolinha chegou na clínica que ele foi resgatado, eu comecei a tirar fotos e vídeos para divulgar e pedir ajuda para o tratamento dele. E assim ele ficou sendo conhecido em todo o Brasil e no exterior também.
From the state of his teeth, the vets estimated he was around 9 years old and he weighed almost 80 pounds. Tests revealed no reason for the obesity other than overeating, and so they set about nursing him back to health.
No tratamento do Bolinha, nós utilizamos ração específica para perda de peso, aliado ao exercício físico. Ele come 180 gramas ao dia, fracionado em 4 porções. E ele continua com o exercício físico. No começo ele fazia esteira aquática somente 3 minutos, 2 vezes na semana. Nós já conseguimos intensificar e hoje ele já faz de 4 a 5 vezes na semana, 15 a 20 minutinhos.
Just 1 year later, Bolinha is a changed dog, even if he does have some excess skin.
Agora que ele já emagreceu, que ele tem uma vida bem melhor, já consegue pular, brincar, já recebe carinho de várias pessoas, eu quero que ele tenha uma família que trate com muito amor, que continue cuidando para que ele não volte a ficar obeso, que continue exercícios físicos e que ele seja muito feliz.
Ele pesava 36,5 kg, hoje ele está com 21,800, emagreceu bastante. O que a gente espera a partir de agora é que ele emagreça ainda mais e que ele possa ter uma vida normal junto de outros animais. Assim que ele estiver melhor, eu irei adotá-lo e aí ele vai ficar na minha casa junto com meus outros animais e espero que dê tudo certo.
He looked like a table with legs stuffed way under it. Even the pictures don't do justice of how overwhelmingly large he truly was. I took him to our vet and he just said it's the fattest dog he'd ever seen and thought he should lose roughly 100 pounds. The previous owners had taken him in to actually put him down because he was having a hard time getting up. And the vet just felt that he still had a lot of life in him. When he got to the house, it took us probably 20 minutes to get him up the 3 stairs into the house. I remember saying to the vet, like, I literally don't know what to do. And the vet was like, anything you do is going to help him. Went to the park. He literally couldn't do anything. He could walk a few steps and then he'd pant and lay down. It would just bring me to tears. I remember going to the dog park at first and he'd just sit there, like he'd watch everyone play and he'd just kind of look at me and I'd be like, buddy, I don't know if we'll ever get there, but we're gonna try. I'm a nurse and I used to work cardiac rehab, and we'll just start with the simplest thing, which is walking. I walked him 3 times a day, no treats. His food was monitored and every day we went out. And at first he could just walk maybe 5 or 10 steps and then he'd stop and lay down. Then I thought maybe if I could get him in water, it would be way better just for the buoyancy and for him to be able to have full range of motion. There was little things every day that you would just think, wow, he couldn't do that before.
Get that stick.
One day he licked his back legs, and then sure enough, he started, prancing along and his speed got faster and faster, and then he'd run or he'd jump something or he'd climb up, he'd clawed his way up onto the bed. It would overwhelm me. Started getting a little fan club at our local dog park of people, cheering him on and telling him he could do it. He's showing me how to remain positive and happy and take really big goals and just break them down into little tiny steps. Kai worked harder than any person, animal I have ever known in my life to get to where he could enjoy life again. All he wanted was to have fun and be part of a family. He just never gave up. People might have given up on him, but he never gave up on himself. By the time we were done, I just couldn't give him up. There was no way. I'm so proud of him.
We all love dogs, but when you're trying to drop some pounds, a story of weight loss success from another person can embolden you to work much, much harder. But how about a story from a dog? Check out these pics of Buddy, an overweight Australian Shepherd from Winnipeg, Canada, who once tipped the scales at nearly 180 pounds. Whoa. Barely at that time able to walk, about 4 times his ideal body weight, Buddy was given only 6 months to live by the veterinarians. But with the help of a local rescue group and some amazing foster parents, he was slowly able to reduce his food intake, started exercising, and get this, after excess skin removal surgery to prevent infections and sores that he was dealing with, he's now 112 pounds lighter. Whoa. And living in his forever home. What a great story. And apparently he's a local celeb.
Elderly people, and they showed their love by feeding him. A lot of elderly people do that, but that was a lot of food. What would you have to feed a dog to look like that? You can't gain that much weight with dog food, can you?
No, but if they're trying to show love, then most likely they always say don't feed your dog table scraps.
Right, but that's what they were doing.
Well, and I think it is. But I think it's also a lesson for all of us, which is when you're trying to love your pet, remember, true love for a pet is not allowing them to become morbidly obese, because this 6 months to live. And I mean, the pet looks great. What's interesting is usually it's the other way around. Their dogs inspire them to be more active. And so instead of the dog becoming overweight, they're going to get their owners out and about.